It's a place where you not only develop your technical skills, but you also grow as a person. You grow in all aspects.
But when I arrived to the project, I never imagined to see a code base as big as the one the CLI has.
Able to build relationships with my pod mates.
In the world, I've made some very good friends who I hope will be friends for a long time going forward.
So before the fellowship, I knew technical things, but I didn't really have any experience of collaborating with people.
I got to interact with other fellows all over the world.
The experience and the learning that I have gained from the fellowship will always stick with me.
I believe my collective experiences helped me grow and helped me develop into a better suited IT professional for the industry.
MLH Fellowship provides an environment where you're constantly surrounded by people who are always ready to help you.
To give back to the community in form of anything.
It was an encouraging environment where I befriended many other fellows.
And I'm proud to be an MLH.
Welcome everybody to the Spring 2022 graduation. I want to give you a warm welcome because we have got a lot of exciting stuff coming up today. My name is Will, I'm one of the program managers at the MLH Fellowship, and I get to oversee all of the cool stuff that you work on over the 12 weeks. Now, like that little introduction said, a lot can happen in 12 weeks, and we're going to be hearing from fellows from all over the world and all of the amazing stuff that they've been up to. Now, we've been running a lot of programs over the last 12 weeks, from open source projects to blockchain, as well as helping people just get started in tech altogether. And so we're going to be looking at all corners of that and reflecting on all the incredible work you've all done over the last 12 weeks. Now, we've got a lot packed. I have a long list of stuff here, so we're going to make sure we get through all of that. But we're going to begin things by hearing from some of our fellows who worked on the Meta projects. We've been working with Meta open source for a little while now, and they've got a bunch of amazing projects that our fellows work on every cohort. Now, we're going to hear from a couple of fellows as well as Meta themselves on the sort of things that the fellows have been working on, as well as how it has impacted their experience. Let's hear it from Sebastian.
I'm Sebastian. I was part of the pod 22.1.1, and I work in a Meta project called Android Native Debugging Tool. The alias is AND-Tool. It is a pretty cool internal Python tool that is used at Meta to provide multiple avenues to debug Android native code. So this is used for debugging the augmented reality and effects engine that you see today on Facebook and Instagram. I learned a lot from this. It was climbing a mountain that at first it looked like really hard, and it was kind of hard, but we learned a lot from Android development, Android Studio, and different build systems like Bug and Gradle. And we had to learn a lot of new technologies. As well, I think what I've learned most of this is how that you can enjoy and have fun while working. I really enjoyed the daily stand-ups and talking with our project maintainer, and every time was like a new challenge to face. So it was pretty cool. I feel like really proud of our team because we could manage to achieve one of the main goals, that was to implement Gradle as a build system. So now AND-Tool uses Bug and Gradle as well. So you can build any kind of Android projects using these build systems. What I think I got from the MLH Fellowship, I think a really nice network of friends that I can reach out to contribute and work in upcoming projects and just hang out. I think I have a wider idea of what software engineering can be, not just working for a big company, but organizing hackathons, open source projects, startups, and awesome projects that you didn't even imagine were possible. So yeah, I think I got a lot from MLH.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sebastian, for sharing that experience. And I mean, one thing I want you all to take away from this is it's not just the technical skills that you've gained from the last 12 weeks, but it's everything else from the network, the people you've worked with, the soft skills. And so as we, conclude the 12-week program today, make sure to connect with your fellow peers on LinkedIn, stay in touch with them, maybe even go to a hackathon with them, because you may not even realize, but you've developed some really close friends over the last 12 weeks. Well, that was really awesome to hear. Thank you so much, Sebastian, for sharing that. I'd love to hear from Franklin now, who was working on one of the other open source projects from Meta. Let's hear it from them.
Ms. Franklin, and I'm in pod 22.1.10. I worked with Meta's internet safety team on their Hash Your Match Your Actioner project. The HMA project is a content moderation tool that uses similarity search in media to classify potentially dangerous images and other media types to reduce effort for human reviewers. It's a project I'm proud to have worked on. Most everything I've done on this project is something I haven't really done in depth before, such as dealing with AWS and AWS Lambdas, Terraform, and Docker. So all the work I'm producing is a result of the things I've learned during the fellowship. My big achievements for this project are getting multiple PRs merged in production. With my partner Samiak, we built live clustering content indexers and Lambdas that help retrieve hashed records within a recent time period. The HMA community is what I will take away from this experience. It was an encouraging environment where I befriended many other fellows. I'd like to shout out my partner Samiak and my project maintainer Deepanjan. They're the people who represented MLH for me, and getting to know them and ask questions and learn with them are experiences that helped me grow immensely as a software engineer. The fellowship is something I'll carry into my career.
Thank you so much, Franklin, for sharing that. Really do appreciate it. And again, a huge shout out to our maintainers. You're the ones who really help make the fellows, learn and grow, being able to share your wealth of experience on the projects that you work with. So again, thank you to our maintainers for making such an incredible experience for our fellows. And speaking of maintainers, let's hear from one of the Meta maintainers on their experiences working with our fellows.
Thanks to MLH for putting together this program, this fellowship. It really helps us connect better with the community and get excited contributors early on. A big thanks to Franklin and Samyak, who were the fellows who were working with us on Threat Exchange the last few months. And it has been really amazing to see you grow as part of the fellowship. And I cannot thank you enough for your contributions. Threat Exchange is much better off because of you both. And congratulations, and hope the best for you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Meta, for all your support with the program, and we look forward to working with you more this summer. Now, we also had fellows working on other projects, so we're going to hear from from a fellow and the pod leader who worked on the AWS Amplify projects. Hugo was one of our MLH prep fellows last year, super keen to get started, based out of Chile. And as part of a module for school this semester, don't really know how it works in Chile, but basically he gets to work on a real project as one of his modules at university, and he chose to come to the MLH fellowship and gain the real world experiences there. So let's hear from him on the sort of things that he's been up to and how the fellowship has impacted him.
I'm Hugo, a computer engineering student from Chile. I'm an open source fellow in pod 22.1.1, and during these months I work on the AWS CLI project. Before entering the fellowship, I knew a lot about Python, but when I arrived to the project, I never imagined to see a code base as big as the one the CLI has, which sounded intimidating at first. During the fellowship, I improved a lot my skills in navigating ambiguities. I became better at finding bugs in the code. Also, the show and tells and the workshops we had in parallel to the project helped me to learn a variety of interesting topics related to technology and career. I managed to create my first PR in an open source project which is a great achievement for me. And I'm also in the final details of a change that will help developers get faster logs from the CLI. I take away from the fellowship the amazing experiences I was able to participate in, being part of an open source project and collaborate on it with the help of the maintainers and Daniela, our pod leader, and all the talented people I met in my pod, Supersonic Whales. I also really enjoyed the opportunities and activities MLH provided us along the way. This experience helped me to be more confident in my skills, and it also gave me the opportunity to advance my professional career by helping other hackers in the community as a pod leader this upcoming batch.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Hugo, and I'm looking forward to having you join the pod leading team this summer to help us give back to the community even more. So, we've heard from Hugo on his experiences as a fellow and making the huge impact that he is. And it's important to really step back for a second and have a look back over the last 12 weeks. I mentioned this in the prep graduation, but it's so easy to get caught up on what's happening next and what, the next steps where you're aiming for. And you can kind of forget. Jay says this all the time to me, our president of the fellowship. You'll hear from him in a little bit. He's like, just take a, slow down, just appreciate everything that's happened right now. Because it's so easy to get caught up in the busyness and the next thing, such as the next program, the next step in your career, the next module in school, whatever it is, and just appreciate what you've achieved in the moment. And that's what we should all be doing today. So again, share in the Twitch chat some of your experiences, what you felt, and how you're feeling today. Now let's hear it from Daya. Daya is one of our pod leaders who has been working on the MLH Fellowship since the beginning of the year and was previously a fellow in summer 2021. Now let's hear how her experiences working with the Meta and AWS projects has been in just a second.
Been a challenging but fun experience, and it's fantastic to see how fellows do overcome these challenges. For example, some of the fellows worked on the Meta Android debugging tool, and they did help in the open sourcing of a project, and they worked with meta-specific tools, which was quite challenging, but they did succeed and achieve remarkable results. Other fellows contributed to AWS CLI, and they did get impressive results as well. The features that they were working on were very much expected by the CLI users. All of the fellows did manage to overcome ambiguity and contribute to very big open sources with success. And we did had a lot of fun during our pod meetings, and it's really amazing to see that more than half of the pod will come back to summer as a pod leader or as a fellow.
Thanks, Daya. And Daya does make a good point. A good handful of her fellows will be joining the pod leading team this summer to help us run the biggest batch ever. Now, quick shout out, if you're interested in becoming a pod leader, you can apply on our careers website. Again, would love to see as many people apply as possible. Well, thank you, Daya, for sharing your experiences there. I'd love to transition into our open source bit. Now, bit of a weird section because the Meta and the AWS projects are open source, but this is just like a mixture of some of the smaller projects where they make a huge impact, but you maybe haven't even heard of them. So let's hear from a number of the fellows on what they've been working on and how amazing the work they've been doing is going to be going forward from now. Let's hear it from them.
I am Dani Schumann, and I was in pod 22.1.7, and I'm going to be answering some questions today for the graduation video. Want to know what project I worked on? I worked on Can Merge with Jordan Harburn, and that was in OSS. What did I know going into the project? Nothing. I've never done anything like this before. I've only graduated from a boot camp, and so most of my coding experience was in stuff that I had learned how to do within school there. What did I learn working on the project? I think what I've learned is I know more now what I like about coding and what I don't like about coding, having not worked in it as a career before and having only studied it. And so I have a little bit of a clearer trajectory, I think, in terms of what I'm going to do after this. Any big achievements during the project? Well, never made a pull request until 3 months ago, and I've made a bunch of them. So I've got that going for me, which is really nice. And that's something to be proud of, considering how I felt going into all of this. And I think what I've gotten out of the MLH fellowship is it's been a really nice experience to meet people from all over the world. I've made some very good friends who I hope will be friends for a long time going forward. And I know a little bit more as a career changer what it's like to work in tech.
Thank you so much, Dani. And I must say, to make your first pull request just 3 months ago to where you are now is a huge win. You should totally be celebrating, and yeah, that is incredible to hear. Again, thank you for sharing, and I'm really excited to see what your next steps are going to be, especially considering how you had never, contributed to an open source project before. Super exciting to hear. Now we're going to hear from another one of our open source fellows on their experiences and see how the fellowship impacted them as well. Let me know in the Twitch chat if you feel similar or if you relate to any of the things the fellows we've got speaking today are saying. I'm curious to know from your experiences as well. I've got the chat open here and I can see Jay's shared his favorite memory. So yeah, please let me know in the chat what your favorite memories are. I want to hear them. Anyway, let's hear from another fellow.
I'm Rita Elizabeth John, a third year engineering student from IIT Roorkee, India, and my pod is 22.1.7. So I'm a Python person, and getting matched with a JavaScript pod meant coding in and learning JavaScript over the 3-month-long fellowship period. This was definitely an intriguing challenge, one that I enjoyed a lot because it meant learning and growing and solving a lot of fun puzzles along the way. I basically worked on command line interface utilities, and my primary work was to integrate the OpenSSF scorecard into Jordan's project repo. This feature enhancement was big enough and independent enough that we decided to move it into its own repository. This meant that I got to work in a brand new repository and code from scratch, like build the project from scratch. This was definitely the highlight and achievement of my time with MLH, as I got to be the sole contributor and lay the foundations down for a big project. As my friend Dani, also from 22.1.7 said, that we all made friends here during this journey, and I hope that we stick together as we grow, as our coding journeys go ahead. My time with MLH has definitely been very fruitful, very wholesome, and I'm proud to be an MLH fellow.
Well, we're proud to have you as one of our fellows and now officially one of our alumni, so you should definitely be proud to join the community of the fellowship alumni as well. Well, thank you for sharing that. Really do appreciate it. And like you said, and everyone else, you should, totally, resonate with this as well. The fellowship is an opportunity to build build a community and build, these connections. So just because the program ends doesn't mean those connections have to end as well. Again, like I mentioned, add each other on LinkedIn, get connected with each other. Would totally recommend it. I can also see in the Twitch chat, Navin, one of our pod leaders, has been an absolute ace and dropped the link for the pod leader, or as it's now on the website called Technical Program Associate role. So if you're curious to join the team, check it out there. Wei shared one of his favorite memories, which is the CTF happening right now. I hear that there's some weird stuff going on with the CTF, so totally check that out on Discord. It should be good fun. Maybe this is useful. I don't know. Oh, you can't really see it. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Anyway, let's hear from Gerald, one of our pod leaders who worked on the GitHub education projects as well as Bento ML, on his experience helping fellows make a huge impact to open source.
My name is Gerald Marquez. I was one of the pod leaders for 22.1.6 this spring, and I just wanted to say thank you so much to each of you for all of the great meetings and all of the lessons learned. I also hope that you all enjoyed the fellowship as much as I did. And to each of my fellows in 22.1.6, thank you so much for each of your contributions to both our pod and to your projects. I'm very proud how each of you approached your projects, learning new materials, learning new documentation skills, as well as new technologies. Not only did you overcome the busy schedules, the blockers you may have had, or even the world events that have been going on, you were also very cognizant and considerate about those situations and your communications to myself, to your maintainers, and to MLH as a whole. I know that each of you now have more skills than when you first joined, and I do hope that you are proud of all the skills that you've attained. And all of this will propel you forward in both your professional lives and in your communities. So I'm very excited to see where each of you go in the future. Again, thank you so much for being part of my pod and for inspiring me to do better and be better. And thank you for making this a great MLH fellowship experience.
One of my favorite things to hear is not only about how the pod leaders can help impact the fellows experience, but it's how you, the fellows, impact the pod leaders and help them grow as people as well. It's a two-way thing and it's beautiful to see. And again, thank you, Gerald, for sharing that wonderful story. Now, I noticed a few of you in the chat talking about product placement or bags. I actually have one right here. What are the odds? So if you want to get yourself one of these, it's very simple actually. Yesterday we released our exit survey for the MLH Fellowship, and so as soon as you complete the exit survey, you can get yourself one of these sweet bags. I actually use this every day, every time I'm leaving the house and want to bring a few things with me because it's very small, very convenient, and it has a very cool fellowship logo. Got to represent 24/7, you know. So yeah, make sure you fill out your exit surveys and you can grab yourself one of these cool bags. So that is the open source. We've heard all these amazing stories from the folks working on open source projects, but we've got other programs we're running. We've got other things going on. What are they, you may ask? Thanks for asking, Will. We had a program running this spring for the first time called the GitHub All-In program, which is an opportunity to help folks who maybe haven't had the opportunities to get into tech learn the skills they need to be able to help them land their first internship. And so we had fellows working over 12 weeks using stuff like JavaScript, HTML, and CSS to build a blog. So they got to learn how to work as a team, how to use GitHub, a lot of those skills I mentioned earlier today during the MLH prep graduation. And so let's hear it from them on their experiences and how the fellowship has impacted them. We're going to hear from, we've got a few more people to hear from. We're going to hear from William to begin with. Let's hear it from him.
Talbert, and I was a member of Pod 22.1.9. We worked on developing web pages through the use of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and eventually near the end of the internship, we ended up using Jekyll to help develop our own blog pages with our team members. Coming into the internship, I had a lot of new experience, as I had minimal exposure to HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, as well as this was my first time ever working with Jekyll. Overall, it was a challenge, but I believe I learned a lot from my time in this experience. My time working on this project with group members really helped me grow my communication skills, and it helped work with my experience in groups, from collectively collaborating on a project through GitHub, as I had little to no experience before using this for collaboration, or overall, I had no experience and I didn't even have a GitHub account. I believe I made significant gains on my knowledge with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Jekyll, as well as learning GitHub, as I know, as an IT professional, it will be extremely essential for my future endeavors. Overall, I believe this experience was a wonderful opportunity and extremely beneficial for me in my professional development. What I gained was valuable experience that will help my future career and help myself grow overall. From the weekly meetings to stand-up and discussions of our individual projects to the guidance and professionalism developed and demonstrated by the pod leader about hitting our weekly goals and quotas. I believe my collective experiences helped me grow and helped me develop into a better suited IT professional for the industry, and I'd like to thank MLH and GitHub for this opportunity.
Well, thank you for sharing that, William. Really appreciate it. Also, good name, I'm not gonna lie. But you are definitely going to be way more prepared for your career, and trust me, it's not, you shouldn't think that you are those things. You are those things. Trust me, you've done an incredible job. And especially, I know a lot of you had challenges trying to fight with Jekyll to get it installed, but the thing is, you overcame these challenges and you got there in the end, which is the key thing. So again, you should all be super proud of yourselves. Now we're going to hear from, I believe it's pronounced Kezia, but do let me know in the chat if I get it wrong, on her experiences being an MLH fellow.
Cook, and I'm a rising senior at Clark Atlanta University. My major is cybersecurity. I was a part of pod 22.1.4, also known as the HTML Hornets, and while in this pod, I was able to work on my portfolio website while also work with a group where we created blog posts to talk about our technical experiences and our programming journeys. Going into the blog site project, I knew an amateur amount of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Jekyll, so those were really fun to learn in preparation for the project. One of the major things I did learn from the project, however, was collaboration and communication with my teammates. There was a lot of changes being made when it came to the project, and it was easy to get swept away and all that, so it was very important for us to keep in contact. For technical skills, I can say I learned more about GitHub and how to navigate it. I was able to learn how to make my own personal branches to merge and also find the ways to assign tasks to teammates through the GitHub platform, which was really cool. I would say my biggest personal achievement was working with Jekyll. I was stumped at first because there was a lot to download to my computer, but once I got the hang of it, I was able to create my own blog posts and also create a nice live server where I could see those blog posts in action. So that was really cool. I'm very happy to say that I can leave the MLH Foundation with great connections. I was able to build relationships with my podmates and with my mentors. They gave me all the support I needed to keep going, keep pushing through all the trials that I did face when learning all these new programming languages and softwares. And I hope to keep these connections in the future and continue to cultivate them as I continue my career journey. They helped me make my already great experience with the program that much better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kezia, I believe is how you pronounced it at the start of the video, so we'll work with that. But thank you so much for sharing those experiences. Really good to hear. And you made quite a lot of progress in 12 weeks. Like, that is incredible. And yeah, let me know in the chat on what your thoughts are on all of those cool experiences. And we do have one last fellow, Chris, who's going to share their experiences on the 12-week all-in program.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Venino. I am about to be a rising junior at Winston-Salem State University with a major in computer science and a minor in data science. I was part of pod 22.1.4, the HTML Hornets, and we are all part of the GitHub All-In program. A lot of what I learned in this program was how to use Git and GitHub and incorporate that into my workflow as I'm developing. My biggest takeaway was learning how to work within a group with people that have different schedules and in some cases different time zones, and learn to collaborate with them, which was interesting. It was nice to learn outside of the linear experience of working in a classroom. So I would like to thank all the members of my pod. I met a lot of cool people and I hope to keep in touch with all of them in the future. I would like to thank my pod leaders for their support and guidance. I'd like to thank Major League Hacking and the GitHub All-In program for including me in this. And I would especially like to thank everybody out there listening who was not a part of the program that helped support all of us as we went through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for sharing that. And yeah, I'm glad that you were able to make so much progress and learn so much. Now I'm curious, regardless of what program you're from, let me know what was the most valuable thing you learned over the last 12 weeks. I'm curious to know what made the biggest impact. And yeah, let's get the conversation flowing in the Twitch chat. I will be keeping an eye on it during the rest of the graduation ceremony. Now, Kezia, thank you for confirming that I can pronounce your name correctly. That's a win for me. That's probably the thing I learned the most over the last 12 weeks was how to pronounce some of the fellows' names. And you never know, in the future, I might be able to pronounce everyone's names first try. Courtney has also shared some really, really insightful stuff from, I believe it's 22.1.7 or maybe it's 22.1.6. Let me know in the chat which one. But yeah, share your experiences in the chat. I want to see them. Now, to round off everything about GitHub All-In, Grace, one of our incredible pod leaders, is going to share her experiences working with a GitHub All-In pod and how she was able to help them get through the challenges they bumped into with their projects and how they were able to build an incredible blog in not very long at all, to be honest. From, some basic, web skills to being, pretty competent. Let's have a look.
Hello, this is Grace, pod leader for 22.1.9 all-in program. I want to congratulate all fellows graduating today on their graduation. You all have come a long way, and I know it takes a lot of hard work and determination. A lot of fellows started the program with a growth mindset. I remember during our kickoff program for the all-in program, a fellow was asked what he expected from the program. And he responded by saying, I want to learn everything. That really resonated with me. And this is what makes me look forward to pod leadering. I have seen how a lot of fellows have grown from trying to understand how to collaborate on projects to fixing merge conflicts. I have enjoyed working with great minds through our daily stand-ups, lightning talks, and even providing guidance on projects. My fellows always challenge me to be a better version of myself. The all-in program was first of its kind, and we started with a lot of uncertainties, and we kept making adjustments to ensure everyone had a great learning experience. A lot of fellows now understand what it means to collaborate on projects using version control. A lot have had to improve on their public speaking and presentation skills through lightning talks and daily stand-ups. For you to have come this far, it means you're doing something right. My advice to you all is to keep up the good work and keep being a better version of yourself through continuous learning. Please stay in touch and keep spreading the news about MLH. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Happy hacking!
Thanks, Grace, for that message. I really appreciate it. It's so awesome to hear about all of the amazing stuff the All-In Fellows have done. And again, if you're an All-In Fellow watching right now, put in the chat, tell us your favorite experiences. And again, congratulations, you've all done an incredible job. And hopefully we can keep supporting students through the All-In scheme going forwards. Now, Courtney has mentioned in the chat that she was in 22.1.6, so I did get it right eventually. Jay got it wrong. Typical. But we got there in the end. Now, we're going to hear from a couple of our fellows and pod leaders who worked with G-Research, one of our new partners for the spring, who are working on some really cool stuff in the open source space. So let's hear from Christos on his experience working with G-Research.
Hello, my name is Christos and I was in pod 22.1.3. I have been working on Apache Ozone from G-Research. Apache Ozone is a relatively new technology used for storing and managing big data. When I started working on this project, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. At first, when I looked at the code, I was overwhelmed. I didn't know where to start and what to make of it. But with the help of my maintainer and my pod members, I got past any blockers and challenges. I gained a great deal from working on Ozone, as well as from the people I was working with. I learned how to quickly adapt, get up to speed, and learn new things. Apart from writing code, I got even more familiar with Linux and Git. I created my first pull request and also got familiar with the best practices of how to write code and clean it up when contributing to such a huge project. At the start of this fellowship, I was hoping to gain hands-on experience, and that's exactly what I got out of it. Our day-to-day meetings, activities, and interactions were no different than the ones we will be having while working in any engineering role. It was a unique opportunity for me that helped me advance my career and change the way I'm working.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Christos, for your experience. I went over to your demos on Wednesday with the G-Research team, and I was blown away with how much stuff that you've done over the last 12 weeks. So you should take a second, pat yourself on the back, and reflect on that experience. And I hear that you've got a lot lined up over in the future, so I'm excited to follow your journey and hear all about it. Now, we also have a wonderful speech from Schezeen, one of our pod leaders who joined this spring, but was a fellow back in the summer last year. So let's hear it from Schezeen on working with the G-Research fellows.
This is Schezeen Puzzleboy, the pod leader for pod 22.1.3. My pod comprised of 3 brilliant fellows working on the G-Research open source projects. As a pod leader, it was an enriching experience mentoring, guiding, and supporting these fellows to reach their maximum potential at achieving the milestones set. Throughout the fellowship, I watched them thrive not only from a technical perspective, but holistically as individuals. I wish all the fellows graduating today all the very best, and I'm super excited for everything they're yet to achieve in their careers.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Schezeen, for sharing that. And we look forward to working with G-Research in the future, hopefully working on more cool projects in that space. Now, G-Research wasn't the only partner who joined us for the spring. We also started working with Solano, which is all part of the Web3 blockchain space. We had a handful of fellows working on some cool stuff in the blockchain space, this being some of their first experiences in blockchain. So let's hear from a number of them on what it was like working in blockchain and how they got on with it. We're going to hear from Harsh to begin with.
Hello developers, hope you guys are having an excellent day. I'm Harsh Godka, a computer engineering student from India, and this spring I had a very cool experience as being an MLH fellow at Solana Labs. Solana as a blockchain ecosystem really fascinated me before entering this fellowship, and this fellowship helped me a lot into getting into the development upon Solana. At first, I was a little scared about how to contribute towards such a big code base, and well, the mentors and the Solana core engineers helped me a lot to guide me. And I first started with baby steps, small contributions, small pull requests, and then later on into the fellowship, I was able to make better and much more meaningful contributions. Our pod, the Decentralized Dolphins, did a pretty well job on contributing multiple Solana projects, and we had tons of fun while contributing to them. We had a lot of fun events, and MLH was also very kind to help us with some other skills like soft skills by organizing a lot of various events. I would like to thank all the MLH mentors who helped us to get acquainted with Solana ecosystem, and also all the Solana core engineers who were kind enough to guide us, and under their they were able to create a very cool and a healthy learning environment for the complete pod. And I guess that was one of the biggest reason we were able to graduate, and we were able to make a lot of contributions towards the Solana projects. So yeah, happy hacking.
Excellent stuff, Harsh. Really cool to hear how you were able to contribute back to the Web3 space, especially considering how fast moving it is and crazy it can be to jump in on. We're going to hear from one more fellow on their experiences on working in the Web3 blockchain space on Solana.
This is Anurag, and I was part of the Solana pod. This was the first time when MLH Fellowship collaborated with the Solana Labs, and I'm really grateful for being part of this. So I was working with Solana Labs on Solana program library, which basically focused on the on-chain programs on Solana, which were written in Rust. So this was a totally new experience for me. I was pretty new to the blockchain space, and MLH Fellowship really helped me kick off my journey in the Web3 and the blockchain space, which I always wanted to explore. In the period of these 12 weeks, I learned a lot, be it technical or soft skills, they got it all covered. I learned how blockchain works, what is Solana, and how does it really work, how is it different from other blockchains. I learned about Rust, I learned Anchor, and I learned how to work with huge code bases, and basically how to implement and write clean code. Most importantly, I learned how to collaborate with other fellows and how to ask the right question, and never get scared about asking any dumb question, because no question is dumb. So, remembering one of the best moments in the entire fellowship was when I met the founder of Solana, Anatoly himself. Being the same call with him was like a dream come true. MLH Fellowship provides an environment where you're constantly surrounded by people who are always ready to help you, be it mentors, pod leaders, project maintainers, or fellows. It's a place where you not only develop your technical skills, but you also grow as a person. You grow in all aspects. It's about growth, collaboration, sharing experiences, and building relationships with people all across the globe. Yeah, that's my MLH Fellowship experience. and I really loved it. Thank you.
I think that was a really, really important story there. All about there is no such thing as a dumb question. Once you get over that hurdle, you can learn so much because, yeah, you know, everyone's got to start somewhere. And just because you don't know something doesn't mean you're silly. Even the most senior engineers in the world don't know the answer to everything. And so it's okay to ask questions. So yeah, really appreciate that story and I really liked it. Now, you did mention about meeting the founder of Solano. Now, we do have a wonderful video from Solano themselves. So let's hear from Solano on how they found working with the fellows and, you know, helping more people get into the Web3 space.
I want to give a shout out to Anurag, Harsh, Khaled, and Ronald for all of their work on the Solana program library over their fellowship. You took pretty much anything that we threw at you and did a great job with it, be it writing your own programs in Anchor, working with some of the client libraries, and even doing some numerical computation on chain, which typically is some of the most complicated stuff that we do. Everything that we threw at you, you did a great job with. You listened to feedback, and I know that you'll be successful in whatever you tackle next. Best of luck and congratulations.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Solana, for supporting our fellows this spring, and we look forward to working with you this summer again on supporting even more fellows in the Web3 space. Now, if you do have an exciting story like we've heard from all of our fellows today, I would love it if you could all share it on dev.to, Medium, wherever you like, and tweet about it using the hashtag MLH grad. So if you can post about your experiences using this hashtag, we'd love it. We'd love to be able to read about all of these stories and learn about what what was your best experience in the fellowship. So yeah, we held it up one last time. MLH grad. So yeah, if you want to share about your experiences, put it here, tweet at us at MLHacks, and we'd love to help. Now, I also have this card. I don't really know what this is. This might be useful to some of you. I don't know. This isn't a hashtag, but Wei asked me to hold this up, and I don't really know why, but maybe that's useful to some of you. I don't know. You let me know in the chat what you think this is all about. So I'm holding it. You can tell I just wrote this, can't you? Now, we're going to hear from just a couple more people as we get towards the end. And next, we're going to hear from Arsalan, who's been running our event schedule and calendar for the past 12 weeks. So all those incredible sessions you've had from recruiters from various companies, guest speakers, and of course, the Cracking the Coding interview series on helping you get career ready and be ready to launch your careers in that space. Let's hear from Arsalan on his experiences watching you all learn and grow. Let's hear it from him.
Arsalan, I was the pod leader for 22.1.7. If any one of my fellow is watching this right now, please let me know in the chat section. The rest of you may know me from the additional event. I was the person managing those events. First of all, I want to say congratulations to everyone for making it to this point. I'm pretty sure that the work that you did during the last 12 weeks was a great experience for all of you. During the 12 weeks of program, we had over 30 plus additional events covering different topics, including technical as well as soft skills. I am here to say a huge thank you to everyone for making those events exciting as well as interactive by asking good questions and taking part in the activities. I would love it if you share your favorite speaker and the session in the chat section. In the last, I'm pretty sure that all of you learned something new. Keep learning and happy hacking, happy graduation.
Like Arsalan said, keep learning, and I probably should have mentioned he's also a pod leader from 22.1.7. That was another thing he was doing. But yes, keep learning, keep growing, and yeah, let me know what your favorite experiences that you had in the chat. I'm curious. Let us know. Let us know. Now, we've got one last speech from the one and only Jay, our president of the fellowship, where he's been helping make sure that all of the different components come together to create this incredible experience for you. Now, a lot of you don't get to interact with him, but he helps make sure that we have the projects that you all get to contribute to, that we have, that you find out about the experience, that you actually get. You help us have every single element of it. So let's hear from Jay on his experiences working, making sure that this could happen in the first place. Take it over, Jay.
And congratulations to all of you for successfully finishing batch 22.1 of the MLH Fellowship.
You all have so much to be proud of after what you've accomplished over the last 12 weeks. And I could tell you about all the PRs, the projects, the pod leaders, but I'm sure Will has all that covered. And instead, I want you to think about where you were 12 weeks ago and take a moment to appreciate how you've grown as a person, as a technologist. Think about some of the hardest parts of the last 12 weeks, how you overcame them, and what you have to show for that achievement. And now, in this weekend, I want you to think about who you are now, what you're able to do with the tools you've learned, and how you've grown as a person. Live in this moment of accomplishment for just a little bit and appreciate how your skill set has grown. But more importantly, I want you to think about how you've added professional connections and friendships that will help you forever. Please stay in touch, add me on LinkedIn, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Jay, for sharing those kind words. And like he said, right, spend a minute just reflecting on those, those special moments that you've had, and that making sure you build those connections with the people that you've been working with for the last 12 weeks. Not just fellows, but the partners as well. Now, for those of you who don't know Jay that well, he has a terrible sense of humor, and so to sort of like round off all of those incredible speeches, I'd love to hear your worst joke possible in the Twitch chat. Arsalan's already got ahead. Oh, Mark's joining in as well, honestly. I haven't got the time or the patience for these terrible jokes, so I'm gonna just not look at the Twitch chat for a little bit, let you all have your fun. I think Jay's favorite joke is, what did Batman say to Robin before he got in the car? And I'll let you all think about what it was, and I'll tell you in a little bit. Put the answers in the chat. But there's one last thing that I want to share with you all, which is the class of 2022 spring. Now, there was a lot of you this spring. Like, the class photo is 70 people, which is insane. So let's see who made up the class of spring 2022. Well, what an incredible class. I will be sharing this on Twitter later today and in Discord, so you can share it with all your friends and family. Now, nobody guessed the answer to my question in the chat, so kind of disappointed. What did Robin say to Batman before he got in the car? Oh, sorry, what did Batman say to Robin before he got in the car? Get in the car. I know, terrible joke. Boo, yeah, send me off the stage. I know. But just want to say thank you everybody for coming along to the spring 2022 graduation. Again, a couple just things is make sure you post about your experiences using the hashtag MLHgrad on Twitter. You can link to any posts that you make, but I would love to read about these stories next week about what you've all done. Now, Wei is nagging me to tell everyone about the CTF that's starting now. So if you are curious to keep getting involved now that you've finished contributing to your project, head over to the Capture the Flag channel on Discord, where you'll be able to work on some cool projects, cool challenges, and try and solve them to, similar to interview questions, but way more fun. And there's 100 bonus points for those of you who are here. I don't really know what he means by that. No idea what he means by 100 bonus. Oh, come on, focus. There we go. 100 bonus points for those of you who are here right now. I don't know what on earth he's referring to. My last little announcement here is of these wonderful bags. If you would like to grab yourself one of these cool bags, I actually have another one on the floor behind me, which is the one I actually use. This is an empty one that is going to be given away to an ex-pod leader. Very exciting. But yes, if you want to get one of these, make sure you fill out your exit surveys before the end of the day. We need those as soon as possible, and then we'll be shipping you these along with a bunch of cool stickers to go along with it. Before we wrap things up, let's hear that class photo one last time, and then we'll take it away. thank you everybody for coming along. Really do appreciate it. And again, congratulations on everything that you've done over the last 12 weeks. Share about this on LinkedIn, Twitter. I don't know what the kids usually say. TikTok, is that trendy? Am I too old for that? Let me know in the Twitch chat where you're going to share it. But again, congratulations. You should really reflect on the last 12 weeks. And hopefully, add me on LinkedIn. I want to be able to cross paths with you again, hopefully in the future. So yeah, if that is something that you might be doing, let me know where you're going on LinkedIn. But anyway, that is all from me, folks. And I will see you all, hopefully, in the not too distant future. Bye, folks.